We're going to look at some epic charts in this video. This is Bitcoin zoomed out, total crypto market cap zoomed out. But in this video, I specifically want to speak directly to the recession signal, the recession talk, the rate cuts leading to this massive market crash that everybody's anticipating. I want to speak directly to it. If you're a crypto holder like I am, this is, I think, the most critical data that we could possibly look at. In the first few minutes of this video, I'm going to explain and show you historical data that suggests that, for me, it's okay to be macro bullish. One of the most difficult things for me right now in the state of fear and uncertainty in crypto and stock market and macroeconomic, everything that's happening, it's difficult to do bullish content, macro zoomed out bullish content, to remain bullish and put that out there because a lot of people don't seem to want to hear it. But I'm going to show you right now data that supports it. And I'm going to put it on the charts. And I'm just going to show you. This isn't an opinion. This is history. And I think important data for us. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into it. The very first thing I want to talk about is something I've talked about many times on this YouTube channel. We are finally, I think, there where this applies. Investors may be surprised to learn, and if you've been watching my videos, you've heard me read this so many times. Surprised to learn, in the last 69 years on average, stocks did worse in the year before a recession began than during the recession itself. That's point number one. Point number two, looking at recessions dating back to 1957 on average, the S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after a recession begins, but 10 months before the recession ends. 3 months after the recession begins, historically, markets bottom. Do you realize, now that we have these signals going off, onset of a recession, there's a lot of this floating around, the 10-year, 2-year Treasury yield inversion signal, onset of a recession, the recession signal, you can see all over the place. Let's say the recession begins. Some people can argue the recession has begun. Let's say today, September 4th, it's official. The headlines say, recession is here. Historically, again, this isn't an opinion. This is historical data. The S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after recession begins. So this is the beginning of December. The markets will have bottomed based on historical data. And then we do have this. We have rate cut data, right? The data is compelling in regards to rate cuts even, which we're about to get. 86% of the time, S&P 500 index posted positive returns 12 months after the initial rate cut. We have all of these things coming together in this very just high fear state that the markets are in, and it plays directly into the cycle that we are in. So I want to bring this data. Again, I have a bullish sentiment on the macro and the zoomed out because of that data, but that's just data. It's not my opinion, everybody. So, I mean, my bullishness is, it's my opinion, but I have that opinion because of the data. Here is total crypto market cap zoomed out. I want to look at this post, and then we're going to really dig into the charts as it applies to all of this historical data. The biggest Bitcoin crash has started. This was back in July. What I just like about the chart is he inverted the Bitcoin chart, and you can see it's a head and shoulders looking terrible, but it's really this chart. It's the Bitcoin chart zoomed out, inverted, and it's an inverse head and shoulders, right? So this is the right shoulder, and this is the breakout that we see on his chart that's going down. It's actually an inverse head and shoulders. But what I want to discuss is this timeline that we just looked at. I think the timeline is so interesting, especially as it applies to the cycle that we're currently in. The S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after recession begins. That's looking at recession data back to 1957. So look at this Bitcoin chart. And by the way, this applies to the total crypto market cap chart. Pretty much a similar setup on that chart as well, with this right shoulder setting up. So just to give you an idea, beginning of December is over here. Okay, this purple line historically is when altcoin season takes off. It's kind of that moment that everybody's been waiting for, this parabolic move into the bull market, the parabolic move into all-time highs. We're not even there yet, but we're getting very close. And just notice just after that could be this December area. And remember, we just said if the recession is here, right? this December area based on historical data would be the bottom of markets. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to say, okay, let's just go to Bitcoin chart on a daily real quick, just because this is the right shoulder setup zoomed in. And what's actually crazy about it is Bitcoin's, with all of the fear and sentiment that we have in the market right now, and we can go refresh this, by the way, we're at 27 fear. It's crazy that we're in the middle of this falling pattern. We're not, you would think we're down here or falling to the downside, but we're in the middle right now. But let's say Bitcoin doesn't make the bullish move we want because of everything that's going on, because of recession signal, because of things are about to get bad, things are about to crash. We're going to get a post-rate cut crash. Let's say we don't make this move. We keep falling. We're testing 50. It's over. There's going to be so many headlines. Bitcoin, the bull market is over. And I argue differently. I argue differently based on historical data. S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after recession, because this means if Bitcoin breaks down and crypto breaks down and it's getting so ugly, we break out of this falling pattern, it's getting bad, and it's just, man, we're falling into oversold. It's hitting the target to the downside. Bitcoin's at 40, maybe capitulating below 40,000. Do you realize that a move like this, the move that you see on the screen, if it happened over the next 30 to 90 days, this is just a macro higher low. And if markets did what they historically do and bottom in this range, right? Maybe Bitcoin falls even a little bit more. But if markets bottom in this time zone, do you realize the upside? And do you realize that crypto is still within its cycle trajectory? Meaning, yeah, we're not, this purple line isn't signaling that we're starting the parabolic uptrend, because if you look, last cycle, that's what happened, parabolic uptrend. But notice this. Even 2 cycles ago, the purple line, Bitcoin actually really wasn't even breaking all-time high spectacularly, actually fell for weeks and then continued. We have the time for a recession correction, a recession dip. And this isn't me speculating, just some random time frame. I'm actually just taking historical data from markets, what they have done, over decades, and we're putting it on the chart, right? And the big reminder here is markets are not the economy. The economy can continue doing bad after markets bottom. And in this article, it's basically exactly what it's saying. The S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after recession begins, but 10 months before the recession ends. So 10 months before the recession even ends, the market's done going down and it starts bouncing. This could be the environment in which we're preparing for. It could get very ugly. And for me, again, as a content creator, it's hard to discuss. It's difficult to discuss my bullishness on the macro, but I'm sticking to the data. And to me, it says, you know what? In the short to midterm, it could get really rough. And there will be probably a lot of people leaving the markets in general, crypto included. But this might be the most powerful opportunity for crypto holders to prepare for what's next. Things are different every time we get recessions, and there's all these different data points. Nothing's always the same, right? But one thing that is true is the data that, looking at recessions dating back to 1957, on average, the S&P 500 bottoms 3 months after a recession begins. It's not an opinion. So let's stick with that. I'm sticking with that. And I'm gonna prepare for short to midterm downside. I'm not saying it's definitely gonna bottom 3 months after, but I think this is a very compelling case for what could be getting ready to happen. And I also wanted to point something out to you. If you just notice, just even, we talked about the other day, the 2019 consolidation, the similarities on the charts. Just notice what was happening in this high fear event. That was, this is Bitcoin trying to break out, and then COVID steps in. But even that was a higher low on the macro. There was so much fear, if you remember, and then all of a sudden it was game on. And we could be getting ready for a similar environment. Ton of fear, falling, recession, it's going to be so bad. And then all of a sudden, it's game on. So we'll see. I think crypto is just primed and ready and positioned, and there's so much demand that is ready and on the sidelines even now, coming into the space. And I think on the macro, that will play really well onto this chart. So those are my thoughts today, everybody. I just wanted to break it down for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll continue to monitor Bitcoin, crypto markets, all that good stuff. Hit the subscribe, turn notifications on to get notified when I put these videos out, and we'll continue tracking markets. I appreciate each and every one of you. Above all, everybody, I just want to say, this is just crypto. This is just money. And it really is, it's meaningless. The only thing, and this is the only thing that keeps me just full of peace, full of joy, is God. Our Father has all of these things in his sovereign control, and there's absolutely nothing else that matters than him and his Son, Jesus Christ, and what he did for us and what he's doing for us. And I wanted to say that because we track these charts all the time. I'm tracking these charts all the time. And I really do. They, obviously, we're trying to do our best for our families financially. We're trying to invest wisely. But the more I track these markets, the more I track the world, it just all is so meaningless compared to what God has planned for us in eternity. So I just wanted to say that to everybody. I appreciate you watching. Have an awesome day. God bless.